Now I'd like to talk about a very important player from football history who was born on September 9th, 1878. His name was Willie Heston. Willie came from a farming family in Illinois. When he was a little bit older as a child, his family moved to Oregon. Willie decided he wanted to be a school teacher, so he ended up enrolling at San Jose State and played a couple years of football at the San Jose State Normal School, enrolled in 1898. His objective was to get a degree and become a teacher for his vocation. It was discovered, though, that Willie Heston was a very fast man, as he ran the 100-yard dash in 10 seconds flat. And he had good size for the era, at 5'8" tall, and he weighed 190 pounds. The school's football coach at the time was Jesse Woods, who introduced the young man to the gridiron and promptly played him as halfback, seeing his natural talent on display. At that point, Willie had never been exposed to playing football. Coach Woods' gut feeling was right on the money, as Heston was a great runner that scored more touchdowns than his other players on the team. The next season, in 1899, Willie Heston became the captain of the team, which went undefeated and earned the right to play Chico State Normal School in the league championship game. That game ended in a 6-6 draw, and people from both teams agreed to settle the game with a rematch 3 weeks from the time when the first matchup took place. For some unknown reason, Woods did not coach the San Jose squad for the second championship game against Chico State. It was Stanford's coach Field H. Yost who stepped in to lead Heston and his teammates, as he was just released by Stanford because the Pacific League barred him from being their coach since he did not graduate from the school, which was a rule in the league in that day. Just a few weeks of practice, Yost guided the San Jose State team to a 46-0 blowout of Chico State in the rematch to capture the title. In 1901, Heston graduated and received his teaching degree and accepted a job at a school in Oregon. Yost sent Willie a letter about the same time, stating that he'd accepted the head coaching job at the University of Michigan and invited his former player of just one game to join him there. At first, Willie declined the invitation, and it is unknown what caused the change of heart, but he soon thereafter accepted fielding Yost's invitation. Willie Heston then set out to study law at Michigan while playing for the Wolverines football team. Heston and Yost made Michigan one of the greatest teams in college history. The Wolverine squads from 1901 through 1904 became known as the point-a-minute teams because their average point totals were very close to a point being scored every minute they played. Remember this, the forward pass was not legal in football until 1906, and Willie was the workhorse of the team, as evident in a 1903 game against the University of Chicago's Maroons, where the Wolverines had a total of 267 yards rushing, and Heston was responsible for 237 of them. Heston's 4 years at Michigan had a record of 43 wins, 0 losses, and 1 tie, and they outscored their opponents in an extremely one-sided way, 2,326 points to 40. They won a national championship in 1901 and again in 1902 as Michigan won its very first Rose Bowl for the crown. As a matter of fact, that was the very first Rose Bowl game ever. Coach Yost called Willie Heston the best player he had ever seen, and Willie was voted as the halfback of the all-time team for the first 50 years of football by the Football Writers of America. The College Football Hall of Fame selected Willie Heston to enter the Hall in 1954's induction ceremony. Professional football was in its infancy, but a couple teams wanted Willie Heston to play for them. As the story goes, Willie was approached by 2 teams in particular who wanted to pay him to play for their respective teams: the Akron East Ends and the Massillon Tigers. The shrewd Heston created a bidding war by the 2 teams for his services and even sent a telegram to each stating that the other had offered him $500 to play 1 game on Thanksgiving Day in 1904. The 2 clubs figured out what was going on and each refused to do further business with him. Heston became what was described as one writer by being the professional football's very first holdout. Willie then went into coaching at Drake University for the 1905 season. And a year later, he was coerced to play again in 1906 as he signed a contract to play for the Canton Bulldogs, reportedly for $600 per game plus expenses. As fate would have it, though, in his very first pro game as a player, he broke his leg against those same Massillon Tigers that he sent the telegram to, and the leg was bad enough that it ended his playing career. That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.